Hey horror fans, I'm going to try to make this quick because I don't think I have much battery life left, but welcome to the first Christmas episode of Room 237 Presents Re-Slshed, the show where I take a horror classic, modern day remake, I compare them, see which one's better, and ultimately see if the remake even needed to be made in the first place. And since this is the first Christmas episode, and since I've just reviewed these, I figured it'd be appropriate to take on Black Christmas 1974, 2006. Now, if I was to do this next year, we would have to do a three-way with this, with the 2009 political agenda one. Yeah, I'm not excited to see that, but for right now, 74, 2006. And if you saw my reviews that I just uploaded for these, you know how I feel about this one and how I feel about this one. So, let's get right down to it. First off, I'm used to doing this on the tablet. Here we go. Alright, the cast. First off, the cast. Alright, well, this one you do have a talented cast. You have Olivia Hussey in the lead. You have Margot Kidder, John Saxon, Andrea Martin, Art Hindle. Younger roles by all of them, especially Olivia Hussey and Margot Kidder. And I think they all do a great job, especially Olivia Hussey. She does a great job, especially at the end when she really has to, show fear and, terror. Margot Kidder, she might not be the most desirable character because she is a drunken loudmouth, but she does provide the humor. I think, she does have a lot of conviction. Everyone you really buy in their roles. Even I'm not sure who it is, but the house mother, she's humorous as well. The Olivia Hussey's boyfriend is a bit over the top. In some parts it feels like he's trying to do a Malcolm McDowell. This one, although it has Andrea Martin, who is also in this one, sorority sister to house mother, it does have some familiar people. Michelle Trachtenberg, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Lacey Chabert, however you pronounce her name, Katie Cassidy, Oliver Hudson, who I've seen before, but I can't place where I've seen him. Actually, he kind of looks like the guy Oliver in season 8 of Dexter. I don't think that's right, though. But what do all these women have in common? They're all good looking. That's pretty much it. I mean, they played their roles well in this, but their role is to just be hot sorority chicks. Hot, snobby, kind of bitchy, stuck-up sorority chicks. And I mean, I've seen them in other things. The only other one I would say that, I've seen in other things that I think has done well, I guess would be Michelle Trachtenberg. But even that isn't a big list of things. I mean, Mary Elizabeth Winstead played an idiot cheerleader actress in Death Proof. She's sort of an idiot daddy's girl in this, too. Not saying daddy's girls are idiots, just she is. So, cast, both have a recognizable cast, but as far as actually playing characters, I gotta give it to the original. I'm surprised that wasn't as much of a wash as I thought it would be. Next. This tablet is so goddamn slow. Effects. Okay, well, this film was never really an effects film to begin with. It was sort of like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, where if the deaths have any sort of effect, it's because it's stylized. For example, take Margot Kidder's death. She's stabbed in a bed, but it's completely solid black backdrop, slow motion, shelf of her glass figures, put like intercut with the children Christmas carolers outside. Almost feels like a music video. Very surreal looking, almost dreamlike. Here, I would say, yeah, you have the gore, but a lot of it is just eyeballs pulled out, plucked out, stabbed, bitten. When they bite into them, juices pop out. You get the gore with like the flesh being cut out the back or the guts coming out at the end. And I mean, they look decent, but, and yes, I am a gore hound. Like I said in my review for this, Evil Dead 2, Evil Dead 1, Reanimator, Dead Alive, Creepshow, all my top 10 are in my top 10 favorite movies of all time. Bad Taste is probably in my top 15. I love gore. I love the Saw movies. But those movies have something that go around it. This, it just felt like it was there. It didn't really have the impact. And even so, I felt like it was underused. I think it's harder to pull off effective kills with stylization and very little, that's why Halloween, Chainsaw Massacre, even Psycho, people swear that they see blood and gore, but they don't. It's because the kills are so stylized. I guess that counts as an effect. I know it sounds like I'm bending the rules to not award this one, but and some of the effects, like the jaundice does look a little overdone. Getting a guy that looks like Flea to play Agnes, a woman, it looked really silly. So this movie was, it was coming and going. It was half and half. But I really dig the stylization of this. It's not really an effects film. I guess to be fair, I had to give it a draw. Now wait 6 minutes for this thing just to... Scares, okay. Count this one out. This one, okay. The POV shots are creepy. They got this weird, almost like a fishbowl look. It's disjointed, disoriented. It's kind of shaky. You can feel the steps. Whether he be outside the house trying to come in or through the halls, that's creepy. Every time we hear the killer, not necessarily on the phone, but like hear him around, or when they show his eye, looking through the crack in the door, and it just, you can kind of see how wide the eye is, and it's quivering, and you can tell there's a fucked up person attached to the rest of that. It's creepy. It's eerie. The ambiguity of the ending. The killer's still in the house, and Jess is kind of alone, except for the one cop outside. And the whole movie is just rising tension. You think it's Jess's boyfriend for a while. And this also goes with the next thing, atmosphere, just so I don't have to click on that again. Tons of atmosphere. The more sorority girls are killed, the more isolated and sort of, hide and seek it kind of feels with this killer. It's creepy. It builds tension. The movie is full of tension, atmosphere, and, I would say more methodical scares. This one, the creepiest thing I can give it is sometimes when you have Billy looking through something, but you can tell he's his eyes all wide, and it feels more forced. Everything they try to do that's scary in this one, trying to have creepy lines like Agnes, my daddy's here. Or, you know, hear him going through the walls. Just this movie has no tension. It doesn't even have cheap jump scares. Or if they did, it just went over my head because this movie just builds up to nothing. So, atmosphere and scares both are awarded to the original. Next, if it's what I remember it is, it's going to be a wash. The killer. Okay. You don't know a thing about this killer. You don't know what he looks like. You don't know who he is. You don't know why he's there. You don't know why he chose to go in the first place. You don't know why he's killing these girls. You don't know what his motivation is. The only thing you do know is that he can change his voice over the obscene phone calls from within the house. And that's it. And you don't know what his end game is. And even by the end of the movie, don't even know what he looks like, if he has any sort of relation to these girls, if he's just a random guy who's never even seen that house before. That is scary. That is terrifying. Here, you were given the same Rob Zombie Halloween step-by-step breakdown of why Billy became a serial killer. And to be honest, it's not interesting. Silent Night, Deadly Night, the original, did the same thing. And for whatever reason, it works in that movie. I don't know why. Maybe it's because that was the first of its kind, so you can kind of go with it. You don't have the... it doesn't have the... What's the word? Like, predeposition or stigma of following up an original. But even the things they did with it, it felt like they were trying too hard to make this guy seem fucked up. Same with the Rob Zombie Halloween. Some people might like it. Some people might think that they're really getting into the mind of what it is to be a serial killer. I have all this shit for that, alright? When you have movies like Silent Night, Deadly Night, or Maniac, or hell, I'll somewhat give props to Christmas Evil to a point. But you can tell they're trying too hard. And it's just, and he doesn't look scary. I don't know if the jaundice was an attempt or what. Agnes just looks silly. A guy playing Agnes who looks like Flea from Chili Peppers. I mean, less is more, absolutely. Landslide for the killer on that one. The score. I mean, this one definitely... I would say this one definitely overplays the Christmas music, even to the point where they hear someone else's cell phone, like it's in the wall, and they call the cell phone, then the killer calls their cell phone, and it's both two different Christmas songs. But, this one, I actually don't even remember if there was a score to this. I know I should be embarrassed, and I kind of am, but maybe that's just how music is supposed to work. I just went with it. Hell, it took me two watches for Dracula and 2 or 3 for Frankenstein to realize there was no music whatsoever. I don't remember music being an issue in this one. So, however the music went in this, I know that's a cheat, but I gotta wrap this up soon. It kind of overdid, also Nutcracker music, Jingle Bells. I don't even remember if there was an actual score for this. Now the necessity. Well, first of all, which one was better? That's obvious. 1974 classic. It'll be better than the 2019 remake. It'll be better than the 2024, or 29, or 32, whatever the next one is. It's a classic for a reason. And I'm guessing they made it just because, hey, 2006, that was sort of the big cluster of the remake era. The remake, when remakes was a genre, when they were redoing everything. I mean, Hills Have Eyes and The Omen. I know at least a couple more were 2006 as well. They're probably like, hey, we need a Christmas one. So they're like, well, can't do Silent Night, Deadly Night because that's a, that movie was banned, and there's nothing to be had with that, even though they did it later. So fuck it, let's do Black Christmas. People seem to remember that. People like slasher films. And yeah, some people argue that the backstory was Bob Clark's idea for this, but it was cut for a reason. If this movie was never made, it would not have affected the legacy of this. Actually, in fact, when people, the only good thing I can say about bad remakes is that if people saw this and they thought it sucked, or even if they thought it was good and they found out it was a remake, they're like, oh, well, okay, open-minded people. Most young people would be like, 1974, that was 100 years ago. Was that even color? Is there sound? I don't want to watch that. No offense, but stupid people. I'm not saying any of you guys. I know people like that personally, and yeah, they're kind of dubs. But it didn't really do much. It's plenty forgettable. I mean, the only time this movie ever gets brought up is if you're talking about remakes or, a list of Christmas horror films. I don't know too many people that talk about this on its own merit. And it literally is almost this exact same movie. But everything that made this movie what it was, they didn't do it. They did the opposite for this, and clearly it didn't work. So yeah, 1974, all the fucking way. I try to be more open-minded in this because it's been years since I've seen it, and same with Christmas Evil. I actually don't like that movie now, but I still think this movie's shit. And like I forgot to mention during the actual review, they still do the obscene calls, but it's with cell phones because, it's a remake. So, that's the first Christmas special for Re-Slsahed I'll do this season, because I still got Silent Night, Deadly Night, and Silent Night to review. So, there's those coming up. Probably not, probably be tomorrow. But, Re-Slsahed, 1974 Black Christmas, 2006 Black Xmas. Sucks. Absolute classic. Thank you for watching.